catch my attention. I just wanted to look at it. The boy who died while filming a prank for YouTube, and this is from the channel Destiny. I have never looked at this channel before. But I'm interested in this story, so let's do it.
The prank gone wrong. A man shot someone during what police are calling a fake robbery. They say it was all for YouTube video.
I don't really know what's going through their heads. It's a little wild.
Investigators say when Starnes saw the knives, he took out a gun and started firing, striking and killing Wilkes.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys have been doing pretty good lately. You know, the world has been a pretty crazy place as of late. With that in mind though, in today's video, I'm gonna be explaining
That's just the history
how
of the
a
world.
20-year-old kid from Nashville, Tennessee ended up losing his life for doing an incredibly dangerous prank because he wanted to be famous on YouTube. And honestly, this situation is incredibly sad.
Sorry, it's just the idea of this. This probably happens way more often than I realize, and way more often than it really should. As in, this shouldn't ever happen.
Stupid and could have easily been preventable if the people involved in the situation were a bit more in tune with reality. Now, we all know that prank videos were pretty popular at one point in time on YouTube and have a pretty controversial history of being fake, staged, and scripted by using paid actors to create the illusion of it being real.
Well, I'm gonna add something else to that. You ever get tired of seeing the same old prank videos? Cause like I'll see like maybe the Ace Family or Dwayne and Jazz or like a bunch of other family vlog channels like that, and they always put like the same prank every week. Like, oh, I'm sleeping with this person, or I'm pregnant and it's married this other person, or something. It's just the same stuff over and over and over, which is kind of why I like take a break from those kind of channels. But nothing against them. I still enjoy watching their videos. It's just seeing the same stuff over and over. It gets tiring for me very quickly. But hey, they get their views for me, so moving on.
You gonna show me your car? Yeah. What's up, Mr. Tough Guy? What's up?
We're looking for a person in an orange jumpsuit, so just be safe going into your apartment, okay? Okay, copy that. I'm on my way.
Help me! Help me! Help me! This video is fake as shit. I staged this whole shit. Bro, at least turn off the camera, please.
Yeah, some of these actors were atrocious. However, over the years, you had some YouTubers who took it upon themselves to actually go out into the world raw, uncut, and unstaged to capture genuine reactions from ordinary people put in extraordinary situations. And some of these pranks were incredibly dangerous too, like the ones with the rich kids going...
Pause it again. Apologize, but I consider all of these dangerous because you're just doing this on random people. Some people, most people probably can't handle it like you think they would. They could call the police on you. Anything, you can get into a fight. You never know what's gonna happen.
Into the hood and
which is why I don't do this. Which is why I don't do pranks. You're not likely to see pranks on my channel.
What's up? Problem, bro. Problem.
Or the ones with people pretending to sneeze on other people.
Man, why would I? That's not even funny.
Now, I'm not gonna lie and act like I haven't laughed at this shit before, you know? Like the genuine reactions from these people, not expecting to be trapped in an elevator with a presumed psycho dressed in a Halloween costume, does leave me in tears sometimes. But let's be real for a second. If you plan on going out there into the real world and are trying to replicate what you see in these videos without first taking some serious safety precautions, you're just at that point playing Russian roulette with your life. And
absolutely,
unfortunately, a young 20-year-old YouTuber whose name was Timothy Wilkes died because he and a friend decided to play this dangerous game with their lives while trying to film what is known as a robbery prank. And to be honest, I never heard of this type of prank before until hearing about this story, and it's probably because most people wouldn't dare and try to attempt such a reckless prank. especially in
Common
states
sense.
where basically everyone is legally allowed to own guns. Timothy, however, didn't have this foresight to think of this and got shot in the chest while trying to attempt this kind of prank, and he later succumbed to his wounds. I mean, honestly, I feel bad for the kid, and it's really sad, but
Absolutely.
he should have known better than to sneak up on a group of random people at night trying to attempt a prank on people who don't know you or your intentions. Like if it were me and some random dude came out of nowhere trying to rob me, and according to the official reports, it said that Timothy was wielding a butcher knife. Yeah, like those big ass knives that professional chefs and home cooks use to chop and slice up meat in the kitchen before cooking it. And they said this all happened around 9:20 p.m. at night. You know, given that context, if I had a gun, I probably would have shot him too, because you never know what could happen. And you know, this story really irritates me because now some naive kid is dead. The guy who shot him has to live with knowing that he took a life, and Timothy's friend, who, you know, was there filming, and his family members who heard about the news are all probably traumatized by his pointless and meaningless death. I mean, so much collateral damage and unintended consequences coming from not thinking things through before actually doing it. It's quite sad.
Yeah. And
Enlisted is the free brand new online World War II shooter. Command a squad of soldiers and participate in legendary
now
battle.
subtract.
Now, the shooter, which is a 23-year-old guy named David Starnes Jr., claimed that he didn't know it was a prank, and he felt
He
threatened,
wouldn't know.
which prompted him to shoot Timothy in the way that he did. And I can't blame him. He was just trying to protect himself and his friends as they were leaving an indoor trampoline park in Nashville, Tennessee. And according to this article from the BBC, it said that witnesses told police Timothy Wilkes and a friend had approached a group of people outside a family trampoline park in Nashville, holding large knives. Mr. Wilkes was then shot by a 23-year-old who told police he had no idea it had been a prank and had been acting in self-defense. Mr. Wilkes' friend told officers the prank had been for a YouTube video, and the source of all this info comes from the BBC. It's sad. Like, imagine risking your own life to go viral on YouTube so that you can impress a bunch of online strangers who probably don't even care if you get hurt in the process of entertaining them. I mean, you gotta get your priorities in line. Another article from Fox 59 covering
What
the
would
story
one
also
expect-
said that, and
I mean, what would one expect you to do if you go to the hospital? You expect the viewer to pay your bills? I can't pull a Patreon. I don't have that kind of money. What do you expect me to do if you end up in the hospital? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's good that the kid died at all. I think it's sad that this happened, but he really didn't stop and think about any of this. Again, not saying he deserved it at all. Just saying he didn't stop and think.
and this is from a witness testimony. This is like a huge kids area, and when we were in there, there were a ton of tiny kids, and it's just like, that would not be a great idea.
Exactly.
Especially if anyone was walking out here or something like that. And
Exactly.
she's obviously referring to the prank that, you know, Timothy and his friends were trying to pull. It then goes on to say that no charges have been filed, and the investigation is ongoing. And in my opinion, when they are done and over with this investigation, I'm pretty sure they're going to conclude that this was indeed a clear-cut case of self-defense. And the person who shot and killed Timothy will not be charged for his own death. And in the rare case that he does get charged and it goes to court for some weird reason, any judge with an IQ level above that of a peanut will throw it out. Because, I mean, it's obvious that this guy, David, was scared for his life. But I'm pretty sure that it won't go that far. However, there is a person in this situation that could be charged and potentially jailed for partaking in this disastrous prank.
His
And that's
friend.
the cameraman, Timothy's friend, who was recording this whole encounter. And this is all based on some info that I heard from a local reporter in Nashville, Tennessee.
But a lawyer I spoke to says this video could mean legal trouble for that friend.
I'm sure that the people involved in this would like to characterize it as a prank, but it certainly seems to be a prank that went seriously awry.
So yeah, that guy may very well be facing legal consequences for recording this thing. So let this be a warning for all you amateur cameramen out there who work for these YouTube pranksters doing incredibly risky shit for clout tokens on the internet. And you know, there is one very important thing that I do want to clear up in this video that I believe everyone should understand before spreading any more bad information, and it's the identity of Timothy Wilkes. Now, due to some severe misinformation spread by multiple news outlets who weren't thorough enough with their research, they started using some picture of some random white kid named Timothy Wilkes. And I believe it's because they did a quick Google search by inputting the name Timothy Wilkes Twitter or Timothy Wilkes social media into the Google search bar, found some random kid who looks like he could have been the one involved in this situation without even verifying anything or even doing a proper investigation, and basically just rolled with it. And meanwhile, these news organizations are getting paid thousands of dollars off of using the wrong person. And I'm just over here shaking my head at the fact that I'm the one who has to come out and correct their fuck-ups. And the funny thing
probably
is, I
ruined
have
the
yet
guy's
to see
life.
any corrections or retractions from these hundreds of organizations spreading misinformation. And I wonder why. Maybe it's because they don't actually care about the situation and are only in it for, you know, the money. In any case though, I did find this other Timothy Wilkes' Twitter, and after clicking on his most recent tweet from 2015, the mom of the wrong Timothy Wilkes came out and said, "Listen, this is an old picture of my son and he doesn't even have Facebook anymore. He doesn't do social media. This picture was when he was 15 years old. Please don't believe this mess. He is alive and great. He hates drama, and so does my family. Please stop circulating this. I don't know if this happened to another Timothy Wilkes, but they are using my son's picture and he is alive and doing fine. A family member could see this and believe it. It's not my son. Thanks." And this was straight from her Facebook page, Betsy Wilkes 7. And not many people have seen this. Like, the millions of people who have seen this story so far still believe that Timothy Wilkes is a white kid. And in another post she made just after learning about this situation, she said, "Y'all, Timothy is okay. He is alive and well. He hasn't ever left Marion," and Marion being in reference to a small town in South Carolina. "I've had several people text me and PM me, and his friends have reached out. Also, his picture is circulating saying he died, but he is alive and okay, and has not been in Tennessee." Tennessee being,
you see, this is how it's messing up his life.
Place. And all I can figure is someone with his name died and they stole his picture. Well, the person who died didn't steal the picture. It was actually the stupid ass news organizations, you know, who just being dumb. She then goes,
"Being dumb and putting ads on my face. All over the front of my face. I don't even watch stuff from Shudder. Leave me alone."
She then goes on to say, "I think it was a real incident, but it is not my son. Thanks for all of those who have reached out, but this is a picture of my son." And she then goes on to post a screenshot that has a picture of her son in it, verifying the boy that she's talking about. And then upon scrolling down into the comment section, you can see all her friends and family members saying, "Thank God, praise God, unreal, thank goodness," and a whole bunch of other loved ones sighing in relief at the fact that it wasn't their Timothy Wilkes who got shot and killed. One person named Myra Adams said, "Wow, I wonder why everyone is using his photo all over social media without having facts." Another person named Joyce Bedell said, "This is terrible for sure. I saw him in the last week or so backing out of your driveway. Makes you wonder why someone would do this. They probably don't even know who he is." And Timothy's mom responded by saying, "They don't know him. There is a boy that did this crime, and the media is using my son's picture because they have the same name. Mistaken identity." Honestly, I think Timothy's mom, Betsy, you're just being way too nice to these news companies. This is not mistaken identity. I mean, I guess it can be, but no. I think this is just more on the side of negligence and, you know, rushing a story to be the first one to talk about it, you know, for those sweet ad revenue clicks. It's all about money at the end of the day for these people, so, you know, they couldn't care less about who your son is. But yeah, you guys can clearly see the type of damage misinformation can cause in situations like this. Like, imagine actually thinking that your friend or family member, or say your mom, died in some tragic accident because it came out on the news with, you know, a reporter talking about the story with her picture. on the screen, and you're just in shock and trauma, and you start crying. And then an hour later, while you're still crying on the couch, sobbing and, you know, just a whole mess, your phone starts ringing and you see it's your mom's name. You pick it up and there's her sweet little voice. You later find out that this whole thing was due to bad journalism because, you know, the journalist on the case found a woman with a similar name and found a picture of her and said, well, this looks good enough. Let's roll with it, boys. Chop, chop. Honestly, I'd sue for emotional damage, but, you know, I'm built different. In any case, though, the actual Timothy Wilkes in this story that did end up losing his life, the one that these multi-million-dollar news organizations failed to get right, looks like this. What you guys are seeing here on your screens is the real Timothy Wilkes. And he was just a regular 20-year-old guy living his life and trying to make it through each day just like anybody else. He was the oldest of 3 children in his household. He lived with his family, and according to his grandmother, Shirley Berry, he was a good kid. He took his sister to prom when she didn't have a date and would play video games with his siblings. One of the most common things you would see is Timothy walking around with his younger cousins, following behind him because they just loved hanging out with him. And you know, in stories like this, people often try to dehumanize the person they're talking about by trying to act like the mistake that they made encapsulates their entire identity when that couldn't be further from the truth. Because you see, Timothy was a college student working his way through a vocational school. And on top of that, he had been working at a Walmart since he was like 16 years old. Be it at work or school, he was a soft-spoken kid. And for the most part, he was pretty chill. He was only weeks away from graduating with a diploma in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning from his trade school too. And in June, he would have been celebrating his 21st birthday. You see, he had his whole life ahead of him as well. And now his heartbroken family went from preparing to celebrate his graduation to, unfortunately, preparing for his funeral. And
so he was a good dude
Shirley
that just made a bad decision.
Most impacted by his death. As she said,
a very
he was
bad
a good
decision.
child. And when I got the news, it literally just took my heart out. I mean, he was a man, but to me, he's still my baby, no matter what. And his grandma used this incident as an opportunity to make her voice heard. She wants to make sure that no other family around her would have to suffer the same fate. To have to bury a child who went too far in chasing a little bit of fame on the internet. Sadly though, in this day and age, her message is more relevant than ever, when everyone with a phone has the ability to broadcast themselves doing incredibly dumb things for attention. And you know, it turns out that she wasn't angry at the person who shot her grandson because I guess she completely understands why he did it. However, she just wanted to clear the air and make sure that people know that Timothy wasn't some common thug who was robbing people to get a laugh. She said he wasn't. He was a good child. He would do anything for anyone. And yeah, I'm pretty much on that line of thinking as well. I don't think that this mistake should encapsulate his whole identity. Like, this one mistake that ended up costing him his life should not be the thing that he's most remembered by. Despite all that though, I hope that this is a learning lesson for any of you aspiring content creators out there thinking about filming yourselves, pulling deadly pranks like this without thinking things through first. Like, I'm not against prank videos or pulling pranks on people because they can genuinely be funny. But if you're going to be attempting a prank for a YouTube video, you need to make sure that it's one that does not involve any weapons whatsoever. That means no guns, no knives, tasers, baseball bats, blood. You know where I'm going with this. Because if you actually take a second to think about it, the person you're pulling this prank on may not know you or your intentions and could actually end up hurting you because they think you're genuinely trying to hurt them. It's pretty simple logic, but sadly, a lot of people seem to lack it. Anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. I always love the discussion.
So yeah, and I'm going to make it clear one more time. I've got nothing against him. It's sad that his life was cut so short. He made a very bad decision that cost him his life. I'm sure he was a cool dude. I would have probably hung out with him if we lived in the same area, but he couldn't live out the dream that he had coming for him. That happens to way more people on YouTube than I probably think. But yeah, tell me what you guys think about this in the comments. Let me know if you want me to look at more videos from the channel Destiny. All right. See you later.